PV, Pastor Sammy here. Today, I'm delighted to connect with Jackie Dixon. And I know that some of you don't know her. I just want to give a little more of a in-depth story and just to hear her heart and where she came from, how she came to know the Lord. Jackie came to know Jesus while attending Winona State, and she was on staff with InterVarsity after graduating for 5 years here in Winona. Jackie was also one of our worship leaders back in the day, and actually that was during my college years too, so I've known Jackie for a long time. We've led worship together for like winter conference and also here at PV back in the day with Brandon and Paul and Justin Van Dalen, those guys. It's good times. So Jackie is on staff with Soon Ministries, sharing the gospel through music and building relationships inside prisons, Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge, Celebrate Recovery, churches, coffee shops, and outreach events. She is everywhere. Wherever God opens doors, she is going to be there sharing the gospel through music. So Jackie, let's start with why music?
Yeah, I love talking about
share the gospel.
Yes. Well, I love a story that goes with this. I love sharing it. So this was a couple years ago. My son was napping and I was downstairs listening to him just through the monitor. And I heard him start to talk in this preaching voice, and he was just talking to himself up in his room, and he started saying, "Some of you don't know about God, so let's sing about God. And just remember God, and if you forget, a grown-up can tell you."
That's
and
awesome.
it, of course, touched my heart as a mom, and I got a chuckle out of it. But I really was struck by his understanding that if you don't know about God, you can sing about him to learn about him in a song. And a song can remind us of a truth that we may need to be reminded of, or that we may need to learn for the first time. Music can serve as a great way to help us remember those truths. And that's why I do what I do, to share the good news of Jesus through music, to reach a place in people's hearts that words alone may not be able to. It was actually through a song on a retreat that I gave my life to Jesus and made that commitment. And so that power of music, really is near and dear to me, just even out of my own experience as well.
Sweet. So thank you for sharing that story. That is so beautiful. It's amazing how kids remember and can, the Lord just uses them. The Bible says through the mouths of babes, he can speak. So that's a powerful testimony. No, you said like you came to the Lord through a song and all of that. Like, give us a little bit of that story when you came to know Christ here at Winona State through InterVarsity. Like, how did you come to know Jesus?
Yep. So I came to Winona State as a freshman. I was walking around campus looking for things to get involved in, and I was raised in a family and grew up going to church. But I was looking for just, what was I going to do in college? Was I going to continue on with my faith? I was kind of at that fork in a road, and stumbled upon an InterVarsity Christian Fellowship table and started checking out their ministry. And they were going to soon go on a weekend retreat away. And so I signed up for the retreat, didn't know a single person. So here I was, and that weekend was just so clearly marked for me. It was through times of worship. The Breathe Band was there leading the worship time. And, hearing others.
Brandon part of that?
I don't know if he was. I think maybe he was. I know Paul Umdahl was in that band. Mm-hmm. Maybe Justin was drumming. I can't remember the specific people. But yeah, that was probably like the very first Breathe Band, I think, was there at our retreat leading.
Sweet.
And was hearing all these things about God just in this entirely fresh way. And through hearing testimonies of other students. I remember being in a worship time, and God had just been working in my heart all weekend. And during a time of worship, they played a song that, to me at that time, the words of it were what my heart was desiring. And within a song, I made that commitment. I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I'm going to follow you, Jesus. So it was at that retreat.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. That's so cool. And your faith grew. You started getting involved with InterVarsity, with PV. How was your involvement, and how did that happen? You got involved with PV.
Yeah. So I started coming to Pleasant Valley soon after that retreat. and just was attending. But music has always been something that I've loved, and so I think it was when Tom Tees was the worship leader, and I had my first experience on a worship team under his leadership. So I was singing on the worship team there, and then started leading worship as a junior in college with InterVarsity's ministry as a college student. And then from there, just started leading more at Pleasant Valley the more I grew. And so, yeah, just a whole bunch of experiences intertwined together.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember leading worship with you. Some of the most fun worship times.
Yeah.
I was leading at Winter Conference.
Yeah.
That is just so cool.
That was super fun. I always looked up to you for your leadership. I loved being under your leadership for that conference. And it was such a privilege for me to be singing with you. It was like the coolest thing.
Thank you. Likewise, the feeling is mutual. Yeah, I remember Brandon saying like, we're gonna lead with Jackie, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. And then you started singing, and I was like, wow,
that's super fun.
You have something very special and anointing from the Lord for leading worship that is just so evident even back then. So and
we're gonna do it again sometime.
Yeah, we definitely do. We gotta have you over here at Pleasant Valley, lead worship together. That'd be awesome. Yeah. And then how did you transition into Consume Ministries? Like, how did that happen? How did you hear about them? And how did you get involved and started doing it as, full-time ministry?
Yeah. So near the end of my time being InterVarsity staff, I was also at that same time started going to the Waseca Federal Women's Prison with Pleasant Valley, because they were seeking to start Celebrate Recovery inside that prison. Okay. And paired up with the McConkeys and Ashley Gorka, some other, just a few of us leaders. And I had my first experience inside of a prison, and I got to lead worship. And once I was there the first time, I was like, this is what I want to do. It completely broke all my stereotypes. And
what year was that?
I think probably about 2011 or so, okay. Somewhere around there. So I was still on staff with IV, but I also knew that God was starting to prepare me for something new, but I didn't know what that was. And so we were going inside the Waseca prison quite a bit at that time, after that initial time, to build their ministry of Celebrate Recovery and help that get started inside. And that really just ignited this desire in me to be in the prisons, and paired up with Jamie Miller, who's now the director of the ministry and with now Consumed Ministries. And he was also an InterVarsity staff at the time. So that's how we knew each other. And he had just extended the invitation of, if this is what you want to do, you can do it under the umbrella of this ministry. I knew I wanted to come to the cities because there were many more opportunities for prison ministry. I knew Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge was in this area, and those are the places I was wanting to really get connected to and be in person here with.
Mm-hmm. And what has been like the most memorable or your favorite experience leading worship and using music to share the gospel and to connect with people, help people connect with God, really?
Yeah, that's a tough one. There are many memorable times for all kinds of different reasons. I think, especially in relation to what fuels me and what I'm doing now, that first time that I got to lead worship in a prison is so memorable, because, like I said, it really broke all the stereotypes of what I had in mind for what it would be like to be in a prison, just in general. The kind of music that I went in with was like, I need to have the most common songs, because I don't know if they're going to know any of the songs that I know. So I came in with Amazing Grace and, pretty songs. I was like, okay, I think this is what everyone knows. Yeah. And I quickly saw that these women were ready and eager to worship, and they were leading me in songs, and just and so open. They were wanting to learn new music. They were excited to be there together and to gather together. And something so unique for this prison, especially, was half of them. Well, it might not be quite half, but there's a large number of Spanish-speaking inmates because they're coming in from Mexico and they are now in Waseca, Minnesota. Yeah. And I'm so thankful even for my time traveling with the Urbana worship team, because I learned a lot of music from other languages and cultures, and was able to come in with singing some Spanish songs and have that be a connecting point to be able to establish and gain trust. That it was just it's been such a unique experience, and that really launched so much of what I'm doing now.
That is so important, to be able to lead worship and to sing in your heart language. There's an instant connection that happens. It's very powerful. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm super thankful for that.
Sweet. And you are married and you have 2 kids, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Obi and Amelia.
How did you meet your husband? How long have you been married? How old are your kids? Just kind of give us an update on your family.
Yeah. Well, I met my husband, Jake, while I was in Winona, but we met online. So we were dating long distance and knew I was going to be coming to the cities and he was looking to make a move. So we kind of came to the Twin Cities area around the same time.
Awesome.
And we've been married it'll be 9 years in March. And then we have Obi, who's 5, and Amelia, who will be 3 in March. And she is quite the Spitfire.
You're in the thick of it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool. That kids just keep us on our toes, and
they do. Yes, we're always on our toes.
That's awesome. You have a beautiful family, Jackie. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for the work that you do. We are honored to support you and be partners with you and play a little part of what God is doing through your ministry. You can always count on us for prayer and support and anything, really. So thank you so much. And thank you for the time that you spent here at Pleasant Valley, here in Winona, how you invested your time and your resources and your talents and your ministry here. And may God continue to use you powerfully and continue to open doors for you wherever you go.
It goes both ways. I am so grateful for Pleasant Valley. So many of the people there invested in me and really played a part in my spiritual growth. So it goes both ways, the gratitude. So thank you. I love everyone there and love this church.
Absolutely. We have to have you back.
Yes.
We'll make that happen.
Yes, let's make it happen.
That's good. Thank you. Blessings.